Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash Tales from Call Centers. In today's episode, he died in my ear. Saddest employee freakout. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. He died in my ear. I want to start by saying this happened a year ago. It was the reason I didn't renew my last contract, and I am honestly still carrying it. So I'm here to let this out. I was working from home for a roadside assistance hotline. I liked the job. Helping people in my pajamas was exactly where I wanted to be in my career path. I was really good at it. My metrics were stellar. I had a nice collection of 5-star reviews and enough experience with crazy calls to be confident about my handiwork. Pleep. Thank you for calling company. Are you in a safe location? I get a range of reactions to this. 9 times out 10, even if people are parked in the middle of an active volcano, they will say yes to this question, or they will just ignore that I asked it. Are you in a safe location? Even gets its share of scoffing from elderly people who don't appreciate having their well-being questioned. My point is, people are usually all right enough for the question to feel superfluous to them. I still asked at the beginning of every call. No, I'm not. Hit me like a frisbee to the face. I didn't freeze, I asked questions to find out what his situation was. By this point I'd been on hat through several big nor'easters, I knew what to do. The caller had been out of town for business, and he had been struck by another vehicle, and the people that ran him off the road had fled the scene. He told me that his cell phone was redirecting his 911 call back to his hometown, and he needed emergency assistance. He said he had an injury, but that it wasn't life-threatening. His words. His description of the situation. I'm all ears and no eyes, so I move forward with trying to help. I had to find him. He was on a long back road in a town he'd never been to with 0 road names/landmarks visible. So it took me a second to find what city/county he was in so I could get the right emergency services to him. Basic protocol that I've trained for. I get 911 on the line. I tell them where he is, patch him in, and they said that due to conditions and his location that it's going to be 10 to 15 minutes. He says, no problem. Then the 911 operator hopped of the line. That didn't make sense to me at all. I stayed on the line with him. He kept apologizing to me, so I told him that getting help to him was my greatest priority, and that I wouldn't leave him until I knew he was safe. I told him that he mattered to me. I still dream about the next part. He told me that he appreciated me, and he began telling me his war stories. He'd been in the military and seen firefights. Lost friends. He told me this injury was nothing compared to using his knife to pull shrapnel out of his own leg while his best friends died around him when their convoy was ambushed. He told me that he wouldn't let himself be discharged after the leg injury. That he was back in the field as soon as he could be. He talked about his buddies that died next to him. He told me a couple of stories like that about his tours. Through his stories he had been progressively sounding worse. His voice went from clear to tired and slurred. He told me that he missed his friends since he'd been home. Then he thanked me for being so nice and listening to him. He said I was a really nice woman, and that he was really glad I was the one that took his call. At the 18-minute mark I heard that noise that you get on the phone when someone exhales in the receiver. Then quiet. I thought that maybe he had passed out. I stayed on the line, calling his name, for 3 more agonizingly long minutes before I heard someone approach. First responders had arrived. I talked to the police who arrived first. They said he was unresponsive and asked if I knew what had happened. I had a description of what had happened and I had the description of the car that had hit him. While I was giving information, the officer had to ask me to pause. In the pause he spoke with other first responders, then radioed a request for a medical examiner. I held it together. I gave them the rest of my collected information and I gathered the police information that I needed for a vehicle recovery report. I finished and ended the call. Documented the call in call logger and put myself back into the K. Pleep. Thank you for calling company. Are you in a safe location? Saddest employee freakout. This happened 2 years ago. We had a call center agent named Michi. She was one of our teammates who had the worst and most devastating last day I've ever witnessed. What makes the end of the story interesting is that whole week I was mentoring new agents and Michi didn't really stick out that much other than her attire, which I have nothing against, but then again I don't bother trying to fraternize with everyone at work. On Friday, August 16, 2019, it was pretty much an uneventful other than a week of our tools not working due to maintenance. Everything was okay until early afternoon around 4ish p.m. I was on a call with an elderly lady over channel packages. My calls was pretty uneventful as well. She wanted to have more Christian programming on her TV package, and I was sifting through the options she had until I heard Michi stand up, slap the monitor, and start cursing at her screen. In my mind for those 5 seconds I was like, I get it, CSG isn't working properly all week, but you don't have to start hitting equipment. Nope, that was far from the case. Michi erupted in so much anger and started screaming in her headset microphone, while punching the monitor and pointing it at it like she's screaming at an actual person. She said F***king every 5 seconds after screaming very loudly and incoherently. She was so loud that 3 other agents had to mute their phones and explain to their customers that an employee was having a meltdown. She blew up in front of the new hire group while they were taking their first solo calls. It went on for about a solid 5 minutes. Michi finally stopped and just sat down to shut off her computer. She started sobbing while others tried to comfort her. Leads were rushing to where it all happened, but by that time Michi left. That day started a whole 2 weeks of damage control from our management. After that we all wanted to find out why the hell she exploded like that. I tried to get in on it and ask leads, but they said no due to security reasons. I hear so many versions of the story that I don't know what is true. The most heard version from asking was that the customer said she was incompetent. Ever since then, it stayed on my mind. You'd think you'd look cool cussing out a customer like in Half-Baked, but instead was a total control loss of your emotions. It still disturbs me to see someone blow up like that at a workplace. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.